The story begins as a stork carries a pair of twins across the sea until it comes under attack. One of the babies falls to Yoshi's Island, the other is kidnapped. Even though that's a federal offense and comes within FBI jurisdiction, the Yoshis decide to go vigilante and bring evil to its knees in a pool of blood beneath a hail of gunfire. Maybe not that dramatic, but that's basically the storyline of the game. There's no guns, but you do shoot eggs at people. And not just any eggs that the Yoshis make after they eat enemies, which is quite possibly the most disgusting video game death ever created. That's an even more violent way to go than being inflated and blown up by Dig Dug's bike pump. Enemies in this game are eaten by Yoshis, somehow digested and magically turned into eggs, which are then thrown at enemies. Are they still alive while they're encased within the egg? That doesn't even make sense, but just think about how horrific and painful that would really be. Yoshi's Island is rated 6+, kids to adults. Each and every one of these brave Yoshis is the equivalent of a little colorful Charles Bronson. This is like Death Wish on Yoshi's Island. That would have been a better name for this game, which is one of the most vibrant, well-made video games I've ever seen. This game was donated to Classic Game Room by Carrie in Florida. Thank you, because I really would not have played it otherwise. I always assumed this was some childish kids game, and I was wrong. This has very complex, deep gameplay. Yoshi's Island is the kind of game that you could lose a month and a half of your time in, just playing Yoshi's Island, trying to do everything. It's wonderful. And even though most of you know that I'm generally a Sega Genesis fan, that's the game system I had back in the day, Yoshi's Island shows the Super Nintendo at its best. This is a remarkable game. The background visuals are just amazing for the 16-bit era. Yoshi's Island is a challenging game, but it's also a relaxing, fun game because it's nicely compartmentalized. It saves your progress and you can play previous levels over and over again in an attempt to find everything on the level, and in fact you have to do that to unlock some bonus levels. For those with families, kids, and jobs, if you don't have 2 or 3 hours at once just to sit down and play a side-scroller, Yoshi's Island is perfect because you can play it for a half hour here or there, save your progress, and come back to it a couple days later. If you're familiar with the game, I'm sure I'm just preaching to the choir, but if you're not, watch some gameplay and then I'll explain what makes Yoshi's Island so cool. You gotta love old school Nintendo music. You play as a variety of Yoshis in the game. They take turns carrying Baby Mario to find his twin brother, Baby Luigi. If you're hit by an enemy, which I'm doing quite frequently here, playing sloppy, Baby Mario will float up into the air in a giant bubble. There's a timer that begins to count down. You must get Baby Mario back within the time or else he's taken away, and you lose. Absolutely brilliant. Many of the enemies can be eaten and then spit back out as projectile weapons. You can also eat them, digest them, and then turn them into eggs which you shoot at enemies using a very unique aiming system. Where the crosshairs move up and down, you can lock them into place and then shoot those eggs at enemies or the clouds with little question marks, targets that activate rotating platforms, things like that. You can bounce the eggs off of things and they become stronger, and as I said, there's just so much depth in the gameplay in this game. Yoshi can sort of hover in the air, and you have to find these flowers and all the coins to actually get 100% in each of the levels to unlock the bonus levels. I'm just rushing through the game at first here. I'm about halfway through right now, but I want to go back at some point and start completing these levels, but that's why the game is nice being compartmentalized. I can just do that whenever I want. It has my game saved. I like this level a lot. It's like a giant game of Tetris trying to crush Yoshi. This game is very clever in every aspect of the gameplay, and at times Yoshi can turn into a helicopter or a mold tank thing, or Baby Mario even takes over. I purposely ran into those things just to hear that sound and see the screen get all funky. What impressive visuals and sound. Those of us who are diehard Sega fanatics who did not have a Super Nintendo should play this game because it's so wildly different from the Sega side-scrollers. Very cool game, and the game cartridge is not that hard to find these days. So if you have a Super Nintendo, it's time to repurchase Yoshi's Island. Great game for kids too, because it's not that hard just to play through it, but it is time consuming and will require some patience and skill to actually complete the levels to 100%. When you collect those stars, they add time onto your timer, giving you a bit more leeway if you happen to get hit and Baby Mario floats off. I'm sure there's a lot I'm even forgetting to talk about in here. There's just so much detail that they put into Yoshi's Island. And we generally don't get these kind of games anymore. What a shame. This is game design mastery right here. Another big thanks to Carrie for donating Yoshi's Island. It's a game I've enjoyed thoroughly and continue to enjoy. I highly recommend this game to anybody who wants to play a game that's very, very well made and has lots of intelligence behind the game design. From 1995, this is Yoshi's Island.